we have a discussion to get to on the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, the relationship that's there, or the lack thereof, as I mentioned earlier in the show. It's no secret to anybody, I think, especially if you're a Philadelphia fan or just anybody that follows around with the NFL just as a whole, especially as we get closer to the season, that things and tensions have always been kind of there with Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, and it doesn't seem to be getting better. I don't like that, and I think that's a bad temperature. It's a bad thing to carry into the season. Like, having the two most important positions, arguably, on the football team are the head coach and the quarterback. If you don't have any sort of working relationship there, there's going to be an issue. Now, you mentioned earlier, like, they don't have to be best friends, but at least they have to be able to work together, get along, have a common vision, and be able to drive that team there. What do you think about it?
I mean, so let's just go from a let's strip it down, no names, nothing. Just hypothetical. Football team has a head coach who has the following criteria. First year as a head coach, offense looks completely inept until about halfway through when he gives play calling duties to somebody else. Offense then looks really good. The following year, that offense absolutely excels. It's fantastic under the coordinator. And this coach does not have any play calling or offensive duties in this regard. That coordinator pops, ends up leaving for another job. The following season, that head coach is then seen yelling at fans, is seen with somebody on his staff, a glorified bodyguard, pushing a player on the field. Oh, and by the way, his team melts down the stretch and quits in a playoff game. Where, like, those are all very big red flag glaring issues for a head coach, right? That is on the job resume. Leadership has to be number one, right? Has to be number one. And those are all areas where clearly the leadership was not at the level requisite to be an NFL head coach. Point blank, end of story. And that's Nick Sirianni's tenure in Philadelphia. Right? Clearly, he's not an idiot. Clearly, he has some ability to coach. To say he should be an NFL coach, that's a bridge too far, obviously. But my point being, is he right for this team? Maybe not. Clearly, the quarterback and him don't get along. They're different personalities. Jalen's a little bit more on the quiet, reserved, lead by example side. Nick Sirianni's more on the, I'm going to be vocal, I'm going to tell you about it, I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. If you don't like it, that sucks. And now that's fine. He has every right to be and act however he wants to. But that doesn't mean that it's necessarily the best for winning. And at the end of the day, this franchise and every franchise, the goal should be, how can we do everything in our power to win football games week after week and put together a good season, and come playoff time, can we win that game, next game, that game, next game? And I don't know if he fits into the recipe to do that consistently long-term with this quarterback. I just don't. I mean, listen to this headline. Have Jalen Hurts' independence and other team issues rendered Nick Sirianni irrelevant with the Eagles? The guy went to a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Is he being rendered irrelevant is now the headline 2 days ago on theinquirer.com. 2 days ago. That's not a recipe for success whatsoever.
We can't forget that, like, stories like this, headlines like this, all it does is create noise. And noise historically destroys football teams. It destroys organizations. It destroys businesses, no matter what it is. If you want it to crumble and you want to watch it crumble fast, add some drama. Throw something in there that stirs the pot the wrong way when you don't need it to be. Winning in the NFL is hard enough. Winning in the NFL while you're disagreeing with your head coach and your head coach is disagreeing with you and he's giving you all sorts of shit and you don't know how to really take it because you're still a player underneath of him and you have to be able to make him happy and be able to make sure that he keeps his job so that you keep your job. It's a fine line to walk, and it throws an extra piece into the mix that just makes it more complicated.
So do you think this is still a division-winning team this year?
I think so, just because I think they have the most talent outright in the entire division. I mean, I don't think Dallas is sound enough either to put together a division-winning season, and I don't think they have the pieces to do it, and I don't think I don't think Jerry's the right guy to do it. He's been spending his money in the wrong places.
No, I agree.
I think the addition of Saquon's going to be insane. So you now have the most powerful roster you've had if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. If you don't win the division this year, that's a disappointment because the Giants suck, the Cowboys suck, and the Commanders suck. There's no reason you should not win this division. And we're gonna get due to this division next week.
No, I know. And I think I agree with you that they're still going to make the playoffs. But if I told you there was a team last year that was the run game was good, the offensive line was good, quarterback was productive, they have good wide receivers, front seven's good, secondary's very, very bad. And they lost, 7 of 8 down the stretch, and then they responded by getting a running back. I'm not sure that getting a good, not great running back solves any of their issues. I'm not sure that getting a slightly better version of DeAndre Swift and Saquon Barkley is actually what the team needs.
Well, I think what they're doing is they're leaning into their identity, and we always talk about how that's a good thing. Their identity is ground and pound, smash mouth football, and it works for them, and then they throw off of that.
And I firmly disbelieve that Saquon Barkley is the running back to do it. I firmly do not believe that.
I think he's going to throw a wild card into the mix.
I don't think he makes it till the bye healthy. I don't think he makes it to the bye healthy. I think I am not a huge Saquon guy. But, okay, now second quick question. Do you think Jalen Hurts is the long-term franchise quarterback there? I guess he already is locked up to a deal. Do you think Jalen Hurts wins a Super Bowl as an Eagles quarterback?
I think if he does, this is the year to do it.
I don't think this is the year. I don't think he does win one at all. In fact, I don't think that he is a starting quarterback in 5 years in this league.
Wow. That's a hot take.
I need to see
5 years.
Yeah. I need to see any. There's zero proof of concept that he knows what he's doing outside of Shane Steichen. Zero. None whatsoever. None.
We'll see this year.
We're going to find out.
Anyway, that's kind of our take on the Eagles. You'll get more of it next week. We're going to dive into the NFC in depth in our divisional predictions. So, stay tuned for that. Follow the show for that. And we will have that for you next week. But